And welcome one and all to the comic multiverse. See, this is the problem.
This is staying in. This is staying in.
You see, when we warm up the beginning, Matt and I were doing, like, tongue twisters and trying to quote, like, Ron Burgundy at each other. So when it actually comes time to do my thing that I have not fucked up in 70 episodes, I fuck it up.
And now it's staying in, because I'm in charge of edit.
It's true. Matt gets final edit there. It was a very, very harsh contract negotiation. He demanded final edit like Ed Norton, and I had to give it to him. I just had to give it to him. So yeah, everyone, what I was trying to say before I royally fucked up. Welcome to the comic multiverse, where the worlds of nerd meet. I forgot my own goddamn intro for a second. Do you think I'm tired? Do you think it's been a long week?
Maybe.
Maybe just a little bit. How was your week, Final Cut, Matt?
Pretty good. I managed to watch, on your recommendation, American Vandal.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was hilarious.
It is, and as like two guys who have worked like in media for so long and like have done like public access and camera work and everything, is it not so true to form?
Oh yeah, it is exactly. I'm like, I know all this stuff. It's so familiar.
Yep. Like, literally, it follows two audio-visual nerds trying to make a documentary, and I'm like, yeah, I know all those people. My high school was just like that. There's a character in it who's a lady Twitch streamer, and they nail the comments on that, and, like, another dude is part of, like, a shitty prank channel, and they nail those comments as well.
Yeah, absolutely perfect.
Also, while they don't name where the dude puts up his documentary, it's clearly Vimeo.
Yeah.
It's clearly they wanted a Vimeo sponsorship, but Vimeo's like, nah, we're good. Well, fine, we're keeping you in the movie then.
Yeah, I bet they're regretting it.
Oh, I bet they were. But yeah, friggin' American Vandal is great. In fact, there's been a ton of great, TV shows via Netflix. I know people have been asking us when Kate TV is coming back, and had I watched Inhumans this week, that would totally have been a segment, but I didn't find enough time to. But next week, we're going to try and bring Kate TV back as a little segment on the comic multiverse, so you'll get your comic talk and your TV talk, and the multiverse will just be a one-stop shop.
Yeah, you're lucky you didn't watch Inhumans.
Yeah, apparently I dodged a bullet on that when I heard you and Mitch complain about that.
Yeah, it was horrible. I was hoping for at least like a couple of things, like, oh, maybe it might get better in the second half, but no. That's
got to be rough, because it's like, obviously they didn't show the IMAX thing around anywhere where you or I were. We heard the negative buzz. We heard the anti-buzz about it, and we're like, oh, well, it can't possibly be as bad as everyone is saying. Oh, Scott Buck is involved? Oh, the dude who fucked up Iron Fist got a second shot? Jesus Christ. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, here's hoping that I think there's 6 episodes remaining. Hopefully they're not written or directed with Scott Buck in those positions, so yeah.
And the talk that this season might be the only season now.
Yeah, well, if it continues like it is, good.
Can we officially say now that this is the first real, like, black eye of the Marvel media experiment? Like, Iron Fist, I didn't like Iron Fist, but I wouldn't call Iron Fist a complete dud. There were some redeeming things about Iron Fist. What I'm hearing about Inhumans is they're, like, zero redeeming.
Oh, God. Have you seen, like, the intro, like, the title card for it?
No, I haven't even watched that yet.
You and I can make better intros than that.
Sometimes
it
we
is
do.
Shockingly embarrassing.
Oh, God. Speaking of shows, too, and because, hey, we're starting the show with a Kate TV segment. Fuck it, it's what we're doing this week. Did you see another Netflix original they had that I think premiered this week? You like Nick Kroll, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That Big Mouth show that has him on it, his, like, animated series, him and, like, several other people. Have you watched that?
I keep seeing it advertised, and I don't exactly know what it's about.
It is a high school comedy about the awkwardness, but especially about the grossness of puberty. I've watched like 5 episodes, and I'm like, this is fucking weird. Because, like, here's the thing. The kid who's, like, actually voiced, there's, like, one voiced by Nick Kroll and the other one voiced by John Mulaney. And the deal is that, like, they're super horny high schoolers, but, like, their horniness is embodied by a puberty demon who is also voiced by Nick Kroll. He's basically just Roger from American Dad is all he is. He's just Roger.
Oh, wow.
Just like this incredibly, like, skeezy, pansexual sex monster who keeps telling them to stick their dicks into stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is this is really gross, but then again, puberty is really gross. I don't know if they can stretch this out for like, I think it's 8 episodes.
Oh, wow.
And then in the next episode, they flip the script in an interesting way because we follow one of the girls who is friends with the 2 boys in the show. And she gets her first period, and when she gets home, she has a female puberty demon waiting for her.
Oh, God.
And the female puberty demon is voiced by Maya Rudolph, and I'm like, all right, okay, I will watch these 8 episodes now.
That sounds so weird.
It is. I don't know if I like it, but I can't stop watching it. It's this weird, perverse, like, okay, what line are they going to cross next? What are they going to do next? I gotta see. And also, like, Jordan Peele is like the voice of an old R&B jazz musician who lives in the attic of one of the kids.
Just creepy jazz musicians, you know.
Just a creepy jazz musician. It's weird too because both the kids can see the jazz musician, but only one of the kids can see the puberty demon. So apparently ghosts trump demons in this universe. It's very strange, but yeah, there's that. I also finished watching this newest season of Bojack Horseman. It took me a while to finish this season because this was probably the darkest season they did.
Oh, really?
Season-long storylines about miscarriages and dementia. Isn't that funny?
Hilarious. All the good comedy shows have that.
All the comedy shows, although this is the season that also basically came out and said what I always felt about the show, and that is, hey, comedy is just the flip side of tragedy. Comedy is tragedy plus time. We're not laughing yet, but we might be.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a little TV talk there, everyone. We hope you enjoyed that one. Go watch American Vandal. Go watch everything we're talking about.
Yeah, they're all really good shows.
Yeah, friggin' Netflix, man, bringing the friggin' heat this year.
Mm-hmm.
I never even finished watching Ozarks. I watched the first episode and enjoyed it.
So good.
Yeah, they're just friggin' killing it, Netflix. But yes, everyone, believe it or not, the Comic Multiverse is a comic book podcast, and we have some comic book news for you for the week.
We do.
And starting off on a big one that had many tongues a-wagging, including mine and Matt's, Warner Brothers and DC Films came out this week and said they're going to focus on more standalone films in their greater continuity. But then Jeff Johns came out and said, but everything is connected. But the Joker movie's going to be in its own continuity. And we're going to have other separate continuities. But everything's connected.
I have a feeling as well, like at New York Comic Con this weekend, he's going to come out and say, oh, no, they're all disconnected, but connected, but disconnected.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they really flunked the PR test on this one, where it's like, but what is it, though? I think what he was attempting to get across was that we're not going to be focusing on, like, building, like, a through line between all the movies, where it's like, you know, you'll get your Justice League that we've been building up to, but don't be expecting, like, plot threads to show up maybe in Aquaman or The Flash or any of those other movies if they get done. We're not on the road to Justice League 2, which to me is like, okay, it's different. I'll give you that. What Wonder Woman was better because it wasn't building up to anything in particular, but she was Wonder Woman, though. Stuff like Aquaman is going to be a hard enough sell on its own. Now you're literally telling people they don't need to watch every movie, that they can pick and choose.
Yeah, it's like, say, oh, do I need to see all these other movies for, like, characters or a connecting plot? Or will I understand what's happening in this movie? And it doesn't matter anymore. Doesn't matter.
The answer seems to be a resounding no, which, again, you can disagree or agree with how Marvel did it, but one of the secret weapons to their success is they made sure every movie was required reading to understand what was happening in one way or another. You might not have cared for Doctor Strange as a character. You might not have ever have heard of who Ant-Man was, but if you wanted to enjoy and go along with the big, like, through line through all the movies, you had to see them anyway.
Kind of like comics.
It kind of exactly like comics.
Yeah, whereas what DC doing, they're like saying these are all like the mini-series, and you don't need to read them because they're not in continuity.
Yeah. And then we also have Elseworlds now off to the side, because that won't confuse anybody.
Yeah, and I don't understand why they can't just like come out, like how Marvel comes out and say, all right, these are all in continuity, these are the movies you need to see if you want to see Justice League, or these are the ones that build up to a Justice League. Why can't they say that? Why is it all these cryptic, like, oh, maybe not?
I think they're so afraid of saying the wrong thing, they just are okay with saying confusing things or contradictory things.
Do they even know? Or is it like a movie by movie basis for them? Is like this one in continuity? Well, it did well, so yes.
I think it absolutely is a movie by movie basis, because as we've said before, one of the greatest problems with DC and Warner Brothers when it comes to building their shared universe is they are incredibly reactionary to everything. Oh no, they didn't like the death of destruction in Man of Steel. Okay, we'll make sure to make a solid point of Batman v Superman to say that no one ever got hurt ever. Oh god, these movies are too dark. We'll make Wonder Woman more light and hopeful and have more color. And oh, people really liked Wonder Woman because it did its own thing and it wasn't really connected to everything else. Okay, make everything else more standalone then.
And make everything about Wonder Woman. She's like front and center in all the Justice League stuff now, whereas before it was Batman.
Yep, they've completely done a 180 on that. It's like, oh, people really responded to Wonder Woman. Okay, make it all about Wonder Woman, which I can't blame them, because Wonder Woman is still the best one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And meanwhile, the Suicide Squad's like, hey, we're here too. It's like, yeah, we've got ideas for you, maybe. Well, we got ideas for Harley Quinn. We don't know about the rest of you.
Yeah, and it might not be in continuity.
Might not even be in continuity. Oh, god damn. But I mean, hey, that's Warner Brothers DC for you, everybody. I mean, on one hand, I guess it's refreshing to basically hear them come out and say, look, we're gonna stop trying to play the Marvel game. We can't beat Marvel at being Marvel. We should maybe just try and find our own way, even if it's a little awkward at first.
Yeah, I guess so.
And then I'm reminded, it's like, guys, this is your second kick at the can for doing a shared universe. This was all supposed to start with Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. Remember that, everyone? Remember that was supposed to be the great starting point? That was supposed to be their Iron Man?
Hey, man, at this point, I would take that shared universe, because at least, like, Hal Jordan was funny.
Yeah, it was kinda. It was shitting on that movie that started my YouTube career, so in a way, I have a strange place in my heart for it.
You're happy it failed.
If I ever meet Ryan Reynolds, I'll be like, thank you for being part of such a shit show. It really helped my career. I'm really one Canadian to another. I'm really thankful for you, Ryan.
He probably would like be genuinely like happy about that as well.
I mean, hey, a bunch of cut jokes in Deadpool was him really going to town on Green Lantern, so I don't think he liked it either. He'll be like, hey, I got a franchise now. I'm happy. I mean, hey, say what you want about how Fox runs their X-Men movies, but at least they're all in a weird kind of continuity.
Kinda, sorta.
Yeah. Deadpool and Logan kind of blur the lines a little bit, where it's like, well, Logan's in an alternate universe, but maybe that stuff happened, maybe it didn't. I mean, we couldn't have this movie if we didn't have the other movies informing it, so... So in a way, you can fit it wherever you want. It gets even more hilarious, too, because as we mentioned last week, it's like, guys, you built a superhero universe on TV already.
Yeah, and you've basically got the Justice League as well.
And hey, here's the thing. If nothing matters anymore, and if you're doing basically the cinematic equivalent of creativity over continuity, if that's basically what you're doing, let Grant Gustin have a movie. And let them all have a movie now then, if that's the way it's going to be. And if you're going to have multiple continuity, double down on what works. People like the TV.
Let Grant show up in the Flashpoint movie. Perfect.
Exactly.
Perfect for it.
Yeah, be like, hey, you know, Ezra Miller, you're all right and everything, but take 5, champ. I got this. Yeah, that's the thing, too. What's Flashpoint supposed to be now? Because, like, the basic talk of Flashpoint is like, and this is how we're going to fix all our continuity problems, and this is how we're going to, you know, basically put our house in order. Only to come out with this and be like, or maybe not, though.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, like, even the actress that was playing Iris West didn't even know that Flashpoint was happening until they announced it at San Diego Comic-Con. And now there's rumors that she's been cut from Justice League, so they could easily just recast her now.
Same with Joe Monteneglio, the guy who was playing Deathstroke, who's like, yeah, I don't know if I'm in the Batman anymore. Yeah. I don't know if I'm anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
God, it's like, remember up until then, the only thing that was even comparable to actors not knowing if they were in the movie or not was like one of the Wayans brothers was supposed to be Robin in Batman Returns, only to get written out of that.
Yeah, but he's laughing because he still gets paid for that.
Still gets royalties, and they made at least one action figure out of him. Good on you, Wayne's brother, whose name I forget. There's only about a dozen of you.
The one who's not in Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, that one. That's the one. Good old Wayne's brother. So hey, continuing on this trend of DC films and just strange head-scratching choices. Apparently, the famous John Williams Superman score, maybe one of the greatest superhero scores of all time, will be returning for Justice League.
But there's a catch.
Oh, isn't there always? Do tell, Matt.
So Danny Elfman's now scoring the film. Hans Zimmer and that guy who likes drums and guitars isn't part of it anymore.
Junkie XL.
Yeah, that guy. He's not part of it, so they got Danny Elfman to come back. So he's, I think, going to be bringing back his Batman theme.
Oh.
I think.
Well,
I would imagine like they play it somewhere in there. But he says he's going to bring back the John Williams Superman theme, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. That's a bit more iconic and everything. And he's like, oh no,
everyone loves it.
We're going to put a dark twist on it, and it's going to be in a point where Superman's fighting the good guys. Like,
wah, wah.
God fucking damn it.
Let me guess, you're going to play it backwards, or you're going to play it in all minor keys or something, and be like, oh, isn't it interesting? We're talking about the dark, twisted nature of Superman who's turned on himself. It's going to be very artsy fartsy and very up my own ass.
It's going to be like the Wonder Woman one, all played on like that not guitar cello thing. And it's just sound like generic rock.
The most rock sounding cello of all time. Or no, what they can do? They can make it like Edge and Christian, and they can just like play it on kazoos is what they can do. all the themes in this movie will be played on kazoos.
Yeah, slide whistles and...
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's like, remember we even joked about this, like when they used the like Spider-Man theme for Homecoming. We're like, wow, what a clever idea. They never put that in a Spider-Man movie. You couldn't really do that in any of the DC films, what with the themes and like general darkness and malaise they have. If they busted out the John Williams Superman theme, it would seem super out of place.
Oh yeah, it would.
And give it time, and what did they do?
Yep.
What did they do? Look, I'm just saying, if you do that, then for Batman, forget the Danny Elfman one, you need to go full Adam West. No. That's what you gotta do.
Well, I had a rumor, it's probably not true, I had a rumor that, like, Flash, like, hums that when he gets in the Batmobile or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably what it's gonna... If that happens, that's probably what it's gonna be like in the cinema, like, I know that.
I mean that's still not any more or less confusing than in Legends of Tomorrow they named the Legion of Doom because frickin' the Atom said, like the old cartoon show.
Yeah, oh god. I just remembered that. Oh.
What do you mean, like the old cartoon? What do you mean the Legion of Doom and Super Friends existed as a cartoon in your year? Superman and Batman were on that team, but you've also implied that they're real people too? What? God damn it! You thought you were being so cute. That's not cute. That hurts the brain. Every time. And I mean, really, if you do that, you just got to go all the way with it. And then the next time we see Wonder Woman, it's got to be like, her TV show thing. Wonder Woman. Kind of a far cry from Crossing the Trenches with, a great orchestra swelling. Beautiful score. You can basically see the tears falling down the musician's face as he plays.
No, we'll just play Wonder Woman on a speaker.
Wonder Woman. I mean, look, if you want to embrace the silliness of it, please embrace the silliness of it, but I doubt you will.
No.
I'd almost respect you for doing that, where it's like, oh man, you never go full silly. They went full silly. Guest directed by Joel Schumacher. I say that, but I break one of my own rules there, making fun of Joel Schumacher. Batman and Robin was not Joel Schumacher's fault. He made it exactly the way they told him to. It's not that he's not a talented director. Go watch Phone Booth. Go watch Falling Down. Go watch all the other 8mm. Go watch all these good movies he made. In a different alternate universe, they let Joel Schumacher make Batman the way he wanted to.
And it was good.
And it was good. Imagine if we had our Rick and Morty portal gun and we could look into that universe.
That'd be kind of weird.
It would be how things were different. I mean, we would have lost a lot of, Mr. Freeze ice puns. That would have been unfortunate. But, from the world of movies and cinema to the world of comic books, it was announced this week, Avengers, as part of Marvel Legacy, and as of issue number 675, will be going weekly with a brand new storyline called No Surrender, which will be combining all 3 of the Avengers books currently going down. That's Adjectiveless Avengers, USA Avengers, and Uncanny Avengers.
Adjectiveless Avengers?
Yeah, or Vanilla Avengers, if you want to call it, or OG Avengers.
Yeah, and it's a 16-part story.
16-part story, 1 issue every week. It's written by all 3 of the writers, so it's Ewing, Zub, and Wade all taking part of this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested, but then it's now a weekly series, and I just cringe.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Has Marvel even really done anything like this before? Like, usually weekly series is DC things, be it 52 or Countdown or Batman Eternal or even, God help us, Future's End.
Yeah, well, if they have it was a while ago, but saying that, they could barely keep up with series that were every other week or every monthly.
Yeah,
so
scheduling and weekly. Scheduling and lateness is a big problem at Marvel again in this day and age. Can you handle this?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I mean, the covers look cool. They're kind of keeping the story a little close to the chest right now and everything, but I'm just kind of like, really? If I were to be a cynic, and sometimes I am called a cynic, could doing 16 weekly quick succession issues of Avengers be some sort of highly elaborate ploy to get this up to number 700 and a big anniversary issue very quickly?
I know that's what a lot of people are thinking. It's probably true. They probably think, oh well, DC are doing it with although admittedly they're only doing it with 2 books, not 47 or so books.
Mm-hmm.
And they are almost, I know Action Comics is coming up to 1,000 very soon. What's Detective on? It's coming up to 700.
It's very, very close. Oh god,
Yeah.
I friggin' reviewed it this week.
It's 685 or something. It's very close to 700.
Action will hit 1,000 first, and Detective not long after it.
Yeah.
But Action is up to 988, so they're gonna hit it in the next little bit.
Yeah, and Detective is on 965.
65.
Yeah.
65. So again, they're getting very close. Yeah, this feels like, some suit at Marvel's like, oh shit, they're gonna have big milestone anniversary issues. Well, fuck, we need to have one too for our flagship book, Avengers. It's like, yeah, but we won't be able to hit it for a couple years. Well, guess what? Weekly series.
Which, we'd probably have to do the math on it, but maybe if we see when they would both hit 700 and 1,000 on Action Comics and Detective, where Avengers would be, because I imagine it's got to be within maybe a week, 2 weeks of each other.
Perhaps. Again, I'm bad at math, if you can't tell, and I'm bad at reading a calendar. So
I just don't want to work it out. It's a Monday morning.
Yeah, don't worry. This is the internet. People will be correcting us in the comments section down below. I mean, I'm interested in this. I mean, because it's kind of like new uncharted waters for them, but at the same time, too, I'm just kind of like, all right. I mean,
yeah.
All right.
I don't know what it's going to be about. So
well, apparently this is I'm sure you've seen the photos floating around there, but this story is going to be tying into the Who Is Voyager thing.
Yeah, because apparently she's now part of the Avengers now, been retconned in as an original member.
Right, because again, if you read Legacy and if you see the statue on the cover of No Surrender, she's back there with the original team when they first formed and everything. And the idea being how did she come to be? Why did people forget about her? It's basically the Sentry all over again. There was a missing Marvel character who always existed, but you didn't know about them.
Isn't there some mutant that's like that as well?
Oh, Forget-Me-Not, yeah.
Yeah, we ironically forgot about him.
Yeah, but what a hilarious mutant. What a tragic mutant, too. Forget-Me-Not. What's his power? Oh, you forget him right after meeting him.
Yeah, and he's been part of the X-Men from the very beginning.
He's a member right now. You just never see him. That's some horrible Lovecraftian shit there. That's a curse from like an ancient deity, and everyone will forget you after meeting you, and you'll also be immortal.
Yeah, it's like something you get from opening a box from an old tomb or something.
Yeah, really. That's just hellish right there. That's a hellish punishment, forget-me-not. That's like some ancient Greek shit. That's a million times worse than the dude who's got to push the boulder up the hill for eternity only for it to crush him on the way down every day. Or what is it? The dude who, like, the buzzards eat his organs every day, but at night they regrow and they do it all over again.
Yeah.
Greeks were fucked up, Matt.
They were.
Ancient Greeks, man, just all your shit's scary, I tell you. It's funny too, I mentioned the Sentry. The Sentry has been missing since like the original Uncanny Avengers. They made him a Horseman, bringing him back from the dead, and then he just took off into space, and we never saw him again.
Yeah, I gotta imagine he's coming back soon. He's gotta be.
You would think. I mean, like, of all the characters they could have brought back, and indeed, if you pay attention to the end of the show, we'll be talking about Marvel Legacy and characters that came back. I'm shocked they didn't allude to Sentry in any way.
Well, again, talking like what we're going to be talking about, there might be a series that might be coming because of the nature of it that might allude to it because they're looking for other people, and they could stumble upon him.
They possibly could. The interesting thing about Voyager 2 is that, one of the creators involved, I think it was Breveroot or someone, was like, lots of fans will be scouring their Marvel Universe encyclopedias to see if they've seen this character or to see if they've been here before, to which I say good luck. I think we found out, too, that her name was Valeria, but her last name is not Richards, which has led a lot of people to the idea where it's like, oh, is this a grown-up Valeria from maybe like another universe or someone who's jumped forward in time? To which I guess that would be kind of interesting, where like she, using her godlike powers and brains, messes with time to make herself always a member of the Avengers.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty interesting.
Again, if they're tying it into the Fantastic Four in any way, I'll be all about it.
Yeah.
I'll be on board with that one. So yeah, that's that news, everybody. And continuing on this Marvel bet that we're on, it was just announced just before we started, a brand new 12-issue miniseries, Old Man Hawkeye, is coming out, and it's going to be a prequel to Old Man Logan.
Why?
Yeah, it's like, I was fine with like the Old Man Logan series. I thought that was cool and it was fun. I was cool with Old Man Logan's universe officially becoming a possible future for Marvel in Civil War 2, and I think even like Edge of Venomverse says the same thing, where it's like, oh yeah, this is an official possible future now. Now Old Man Hawkeye is getting a prequel, and now I'm like, okay, I think you're sucking this story's dick a little too hard now.
Yeah, is Old Man Hawkeye coming back to the past now? Is he gonna be like a mainstay now on like an Avengers team?
Apparently this is him traveling around before he loses his sight, fighting a bunch of the villains who took over Earth.
Yeah.
In his Mad Max cards, where I'm like, okay, there could be something there. There could be something, but at the same time, I'm like, did we really need this?
Yeah, and it's not written by Mark Millar or anyone like that. It's written by... Who's it written by? I only like glanced at the news.
Someone you've never heard of before. He's a TV writer.
Yeah, so... Yeah, no.
Like, already I raise an eyebrow. Like, if it was Miller, or even if it was Lemire, who's both written Hawkeye and wrote that Old Man Logan series, I would have been cool with it. In fact, I might even have been on board with it. But here I'm just like, I don't like this.
No.
I don't like how this feels. Also, 12 issues? Really?
Yeah.
That seems excessive for Old Man Hawkeye. Hawkeye whose books regularly get cut short before 12 issues. I mean, shit. I mean, it got to the point now where it's like, okay, well, now you got to share a book with your sidekick, and you're going to be getting a little mini-series that you got to share with Black Widow and Winter Soldier. We don't think you're strong enough, Clint, to hold up a project on your own, unless you're old.
Yeah, unless you're old. That's interesting. Old and blind.
You gotta be old and blind as shit, is what you gotta be. And somewhere Daredevil's in the background like, motherfucker stole my bit. I've been blind forever, and we don't get Old Man Murdoch in the future. Old Man Murdoch is even alliterative, and I still don't get it. Don't people want to know what I'm like when I'm older? Actually, I think Mark Waid told that story, actually, about what happens to Matt Murdock when he gets old.
I think so, yeah.
He did, and his like near the tail end of his Daredevil run, we did like a one-shot where we go to the future, and he's got a wife and a kid and everything. Oh, and the deal is, his powers actually get stronger as he gets older.
Yeah.
So he can hear, smell, and feel like 1,000,000 times better, and he's like God level with that now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is really smart. I really dig that. So, yeah, believe it or not, everyone, that was the news for this week. Not a hell of a lot to talk about, mainly because this is the week before New York Comic Con, and both Marvel and DC are going to have huge panels at the show, and there's usually one or two really juicy pieces of news and announcements that come out from it.
Yeah, so I imagine next week's going to be pretty packed.
Yeah. Also, you won't be seeing me at New York Comic Con. I made this announcement on Twitter, but I should probably make it official here. Yeah, due to extenuating circumstances, I couldn't make it this year. Sucks. Wanted to go. But hey, now that I'm not going, I'll actually be able to keep up on news. So if something big breaks, I'll be sure to talk about it.
Well, I know a bunch of the panels are actually getting live streamed.
Yes, the DC one is, which is pretty impressive, because if you'll recall, when they did it before, they did it to announce DC Rebirth, then they did it again to announce Super Sons and Batwoman, and I get the distinct feeling they're going to announce something pretty freaking big at this show, too.
Yeah, and obviously, like, Doomsday Clock's getting a big push, so, yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So it's interesting times, for sure.
Yep.
Very interesting times. And with that, everyone, I can guess we can hop on into what we read this week. There's at least 3 huge-ass books that came out this week that we'll be talking about, so be sure to stick through the entire show to hear what we talk about. But first things first, I will throw things over to Matt and let him start.
Alrighty, yeah, so we're going to leave our last 3 books to the big 3 books to the last bit. But first,
I think you know what they are.
I think I know what they are. But first I want to talk about is Batman the Murder Machine.
Yes, I read this too.
Pretty cool.
It was cool. Probably the coolest cyborg-related story I've read since, like, Forever Evil when he teamed up with the Metal Man.
The interesting thing here is that it's not a, like, we all assumed that when we saw those Batmen, they're all like, oh, it's Batman fused with Aquaman, and that's not the case here.
No.
He's not fused with Cyborg at all.
No, they swerve you.
Yeah, which is really cool. He's fused with an AI Alfred.
Yeah, that's really clever. You know, obviously, Red Death was playing on this idea that Batman can have power envy and he feels like he can never do enough. Murder Machine is built around the idea that Batman fears being alone so much that when Alfred dies, he tries to put his brain into a computer. And I mean, if you've ever watched a story about AI before, of course the AI goes crazy and starts killing people.
Yeah, like as soon as it was turned on in this issue, it started killing people like Bane and everything. I guess it went after Bane because Bane was the one who killed Alfred.
Yeah. That's record time for an AI going crazy as soon as you flip it on. Now, it makes sense, though. The Alfred Protocol, which Scott Snyder has mentioned several times in his own work, is invented for the sole purpose of protecting Batman, and this is what the computer thought would protect him, by killing all his enemies.
Yeah, and Batman doesn't... He's like, yeah, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with it.
Shockingly okay with this.
Again, like the Red Death one, these Batman aren't villains. They're just like people that are like pushed to the edge, or in this case, emotionally unstable.
Yeah, it's that literal, you know... fork in the road, there but for the grace of I, go me moment is what it is. Like, these could easily have been the Batman of our Earth, but it wasn't.
Yeah, and that's what kind of makes them perfect candidates, I guess, for the Batman who laughs.
Definitely. It's kind of clever, too, that, you know, Cyborg is actually the perfect one to tell this story, because they draw a very interesting parallel between Victor's kind of strained relationship with his own father and Bruce Wayne's surrogate father-son relationship with Alfred.
Yeah, the very fathers and sons.
It is, and that Bruce uses that to guilt-trip Victor Stone into helping him out, being like, what if it was your father, Vic? You know, I would have helped you. Batman, that's one of his martial arts you never learned. You know, he's got Krav Maga, Penchat Salat, guilt-tripping. He's a master black belt in guilt tripping. He studied with the finest Jewish mothers all over the world to guilt trip the shit out of his friends. And then, that Earth goes to hell pretty goddamn quick, because, of course, the Alfred bots are like, assimilate.
Yeah, and just take over everything. And then he moves over onto Prime Earth, onto Detroit, which I'm like, really? It's kind of already destroyed.
It's an important key point in taking over the world. As soon as Detroit falls, everything will fall. Well, see, I like to think that was just the Dark Knights fucking with Cyborg in particular. Like, yeah, now we're gonna take over Detroit where your dad is.
Yeah, well, he also got to take over the Watchtower as well and sort of change it into this big monolith-looking thing.
Yeah. Uniquely suited to taking over the Watchtower, I like, where it's like, dude, I'm basically just you. I can hack into computers, I can teleport anywhere.
Yeah, I wonder if they're gonna do like what Steel did back in one of the JLA issues, where he uses the whole Watchtower as like an exosuit.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That would also tie in very nicely to Cyborg in the Technus Imperative, when he became like a big giant space horror.
Yeah.
That would be very much up their alley. It's funny, too, this issue made me laugh because you open it up and it's just Cyborg at the Watchtower, and I'm like, oh yeah, here's Cyborg guarding the base again for a big event. What else is new?
Yeah, this is like his job. Like, oh, world-ending thing, you better get up to the Watchtower. It's your patrol time.
Look, Vic, we gotta go save the world. The Trinity is missing. But you really need to water the plants and feed the fish on the Watchtower.
Martian Manhunter ain't here to do it. You've got to do it.
You gotta do it. It's like, look, guys, is this a race thing? No, it's an age thing. It's because you're a teen. You're basically a kid. That's why.
Yeah, a kid who shouldn't be on the Justice League.
We literally treat you like our gopher. We literally treat you like our coffee boy for this team. And somewhere Vic is up there on the Watchtower. He's got like a picture of the Teen Titans, and he's looking at it lovingly. Someday.
Yeah, caresses it.
Then he puts it down. He's like, oh. Poor Cyborg. This will forever be his legacy. As a Justice Leaguer, Cyborg, he answered the phones. Cyborg, one time they needed him to pick them up, and they did. He was the driver, basically. And somewhere Jon Stewart's like, I'm not saying I'd be a better addition to the team. I'm just saying, like, they'd let me do shit.
Yeah, no, I've got connections,
Hawkman's like, hey, I'm kind of important now. If I come back, can I be on the league again? Hawkwoman's like, hey, what about me? I can do everything he can do and more. And Cyborg's like, why are you all trying to take my job? Seriously. Stop making your arguments about why you would be better members of the team. I'm still getting my movie in 2020, right?
Yeah, no, but Flash is coming to, like, keep an eye on you.
Get chaperone. I feel so bad for Cyborg. Like, I don't mean to shit on him. I wish he was treated better than the writers treat him. He's so clearly an afterthought in every Justice League story since the New 52.
Yeah, he really is.
It's always like, the Trinity, the greatest superheroes ever, 2 Green Lanterns, the Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg, we guess.
Yeah, a cybernetic quarterback.
Yeah, and Cyborg, he's here too. You'll help out if it's like a sports-themed bar trivia, or you need someone to hack something, he'll help. It's funny too, because it's like, all the stuff he can do, it's like, oh, well, he hacks. Well, yeah, Batman can hack too.
Yeah, and the Green Lanterns can use their rings to hack.
Yeah, and they can also use their lanterns to, like, help you travel through space and get from point A to point B. What does Cyborg actually offer? It's like, oh, well, he can open boom tubes with his alien technology. They used to just be able to do that in old Justice League.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain they have a boom tube.
Yeah, they do have. They have, like, a mother box generator. They just flip a switch and it happens. But yes, Murder Machine was good. Frank Terry did a good job.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I like, too, that these, like, one-shots, they give you the origin of the Dark Knights, but they also build the story forward, too, as well. We saw how Red Death fucked up Central City, and we now see how, they took over the Watchtower and why the heroes won't be able to use the Watchtower to help.
That's right. Just speaking of, like, shitting on Cyborg, like, he didn't just get wailed on by the Murder Machine, he got wailed on by all of them, including Devastator.
Yeah, oh yeah, he got wailed on by everybody. It's funny, because he loses almost right away to Murder Machine. Then 5 more guys come in and start kicking him while he's down, and I'm like, ow! Jesus Christ.
Hint.
And then even in the flashback, like Flashborg Cyborg is kind of like, more heroic, where it's like, yeah, and then Cyborg rallied the Justice League to fight this technological threat that he was 50% responsible for. And then Murder Machine rips his head off like Mortal Kombat. And I'm like, Victor just can't catch a fucking break, can he? I was reading someone's pitch that was actually kind of interesting, where it's like, what if they actually made like a robot team that was like Cyborg, Robot Man, maybe a couple of the Metal Men, Red Tornado, and they just had like a whole Robo Justice League. Wouldn't that be interesting?
That'd be pretty cool.
I'd read that. That'd be fun. They have a lot to talk about.
Stories would like revolve around Batman trying to disassemble them because we can't trust them.
Can't trust them fucking robots. You see Batman just walking around with like a tire on trying to take them apart. It's like, stop. Seriously, stop.
He's like throwing seawater on them to make them rust.
Yeah, take that. I don't trust these machines. They're gonna steal my credit card information. Look, no, Batman, we're not gonna. I mean, we could steal your credit card information, but we won't. But yeah, Murder Machine was fun. What's the next one? Devastator?
No, it's Dawnbreaker, the Green Lantern one. Yeah, that'll
be interesting because they've toyed with Batman having lantern shit before. He's been a Yellow Lantern. He's had green for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's gonna be. It looks really interesting as well.
It does. Now, is Dawnbreaker a man or a woman, or is Dawnbreaker very androgynous?
It's a man. It's like young Bruce Wayne.
Right. Huh. This will be interesting.
Yeah.
They've all been interesting so far. If they can keep up this level of quality, I'll be very interested moving forward.
Yeah. And they've been coming out on time as well.
They have been. We got a new one every week. So it's like, even though we got all this Oz stuff happening and we got all these other storylines going on, you get your Dark Knights, Phil.
Yeah. Did you see Scott Snyder also put out like a timeline of when all this takes place? Like apparently it's like Rebirth, then Metal, and then like Oz and all that sort of stuff.
He did it on a whiteboard too, which I appreciated.
Yeah, I like that.
More comic writers should do this, where it's like, hey man, here's just my actual notebook of when I was making this shit happen.
Yeah, just follow this.
Just follow this. So yeah, Murder Machine was pretty solid. Another book I had this week, we had 2 Generations book this week, but this one was the finale. Generation Sam Wilson and Steve Rogers.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this.
Me too. It was many things. It was the Last Generations and the Best Generations book, I think, by far. Mm-hmm. Mainly because it had so many reasons to exist. It was the finale of Secret Empire, because it takes place like 5 minutes after Secret Empire. Mm-hmm. And it's the final word on Nick Spencer's Captain America run, both of them. Yeah,
it kind of was like the finale issue for both those series.
It was very huge. Like it was so big and so important. I'm like, man, I hope when they do the Secret Empire omnibus, they should really put this one in there.
Yeah, put it in there last, the last thing you read for it.
It's very necessary in that way, and it's also probably the one that plays with the concept of generations more than any other one. You wrote this on Twitter where you're like, man, most of these heroes only got to go back and hang out with their progenitor for like like an hour a day at most. Sam had 70 years.
He did, man. He like got dropped off at like in like 1940 or something, 1942, and then just like spent the next 70 years just living his life, fighting through World War II and all this stuff.
Just hanging out. In a way, getting to have the life that his mentor never had and the life that he never had, which I think a lot of people miss. I know a lot of people are like, well, okay, so Sam got to live a second life and he got to be Captain America's background sounding board. That's a bit of a demotion. You could definitely read it like that. I read it as he got to do all the stuff he could never do.
Yeah, he got to step out of the spotlight and actually be his own man.
Yeah, he got his own man, even free of superhero-dom, although he was a superhero too.
Yeah, and I was kind of confused about why people were like kind of shitting on it for a little bit there. I'm like, it's really good. You're obviously not reading it right.
It's definitely, I can't blame them, because the knee-jerk reaction is like, oh really? Yeah, it's like if he had 70 years, why didn't he just run around as Captain America in 70 years? Because it's not like you can use the standard, oh, well, that would have messed with the timeline thing. As we find out in this issue right at the end, none of the Generations books were actually time travel stories.
No.
No, they were something completely different. I'm like, why did you wait till the last one to tell us?
Well, keep us on our toes.
I guess so. I guess that's why. And, you know, like, Sam gets to see a Steve who is unsure of himself, who is new and just starting out and everything. And Sam kind of gets to give the inspiration that he gave him back in a way, and he gets to, like, push him forward and everything. And it's kind of like, you know, the student has become the mentor type thing.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that happening. He gets to fight for civil rights and everything. He gets to be a pastor like his brother and father always wanted him to. And then, again, because it's not time travel, he actually gets to see as a third party as he himself is given the shield for the first time.
Yeah, as the younger Sam and Cap even comes to him and says, hey, this younger guy named Sam Wilson, should he be Captain America?
Yeah, it's going to be a heavy load. I wouldn't wish this on anyone, even my best friend. And, you know, it was well handled. I thought it was a really nice kind of love letter to Sam, where it's like, you know, I did it all in my time. Even if my run as Cap was cut short thanks to this story, I got to do literally everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I did all the things. And it's funny, too, it even gives us, like, the actual framing device of Generations, which I wish they had started with this, too, and that is that all these stories we're hearing are literally the superheroes being interrogated by the government about where Kobik went.
Yeah, and where they went through the vanishing point, and none of them told them anything.
No.
Good.
Because fuck the police and fuck the government. Especially fuck the government, like, post-Secret Empire takeover, where it's like, oh yeah, you're the government, huh?
Yeah, you're the ones who let this happen.
Yeah, and they literally go, man, what a crazy year we had. Let's go have waffles. This year was fucked up. I think we all have PTSD now.
Yeah, I haven't eaten in like 6 months.
Yeah, really. This was dark, man. This was harsh. Also, too, this book mentions what we'll talk about when we talk about Legacy, and that is S.H.I.E.L.D. is disbanded now.
Yeah, they're no longer a thing.
I mean, can't blame them. They dropped the ball super fucking hard, and their leader, Captain America, or Evil Steve, took over the world. If you don't get disbanded for that, what do you get disbanded for? Although they seek to be implying that whoever replaced them is, like, worse or something, because, like, they don't actually, like, mention the world like National Security League or whatever, like those shadowy guys from the movie. The rumor is that they were supposed to be the next thing, but maybe that idea got scuttled, but maybe they're still kind of here in name only.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping that, like, maybe AIM would come in and overtake him, because AIM is obviously being run by Roberto.
Sunfire, yeah.
Yeah. And he's doing good with the US Avengers and everything, so I was kind of hoping that he would step in for that.
Well, wasn't AIM a subsidiary of S.H.I.E.L.D. by the end? What happened with that?
No, they were working for the government. But
right, but
it happened in this week's US Avengers. Roberto kind of, like, takes them private, kind of, sort of, because they had this obvious Trump political guy saying, oh, we need to get rid of all these immigrants on your team, and all that sort of stuff. It wasn't subtle at all.
Dude, I am an immigrant. Well, hey, you know, man, real life isn't subtle anymore, so why should art be subtle anymore?
Yeah, so he just like, oh, well, I quit being AIM Supreme Leader and I'm going to take the group public.
Interesting. Man, what a fucking journey the USA Avengers have been on. I gotta catch up from that. From being the AIM Avengers and New Avengers to being the USA Avengers to now being the public out third Avengers team.
I really like the team makeup as well. The team makeup is really interesting.
I'm happy the book lasted that long. I remember reading issue 1 and going, wow, what an awesome first issue. This book will never make it, but it's made it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are complaining that it wasn't. It's kind of straight away from what those first issues was, where it was like Golden Skull and LMDs and everything. But I attribute that to it being part of events like Secret Empire and everything. I imagine it'll go back to that once it gets back into the weekly.
They're going to space in Legacy, right? They got to find Cannonball.
Yeah, that was what the end of this issue kind of hinted at.
Right. I think you were a fan of this, too, because you've been reading New Avengers almost since the beginning, and they basically tell one solid story from New Avengers till now.
Yeah, yep.
Which, man, they've had a pretty good frickin' run in that regard. So, yeah, I mean, that was Generations, Captain America. I really dug it.
Yeah,
I would say
I did as well.
It's the best one, and it's a really nice send-off, and it's a really nice kind of like entry point for the new Captain America book, whatever that one may be.
Yep.
So I definitely give that one a look out. What else did you have happening?
Let's take a look. I had... Oh, go back to Metal for a second. Suicide Squad issue 26.
I didn't get a chance to read that yet. How was it?
It was okay, but it suffered from the same stuff the Nightwing Mr. Freeze one did, whereas Poison Ivy, who's the metal-infused villain in this issue...
The level boss.
Doesn't get anything, really. I was hoping, because obviously Harley Quinn's involved in this book, I was hoping that they
have a connection. Yeah.
I was hoping they would do something with that, like maybe Harley's able to convince her to help them or something, and use the metal powers for good rather than evil. But none of that ever happens. They actually end up just running away from her.
Oh, really? That's unfortunate.
Run away from her, run past Mad Hatter for a moment, because he's in the book for some reason, and they end up fighting the Teen Titans and the Suicide Squad who show up.
Right, man. I hope Gotham Resistance. I hope the first one wasn't the best one, and they all go downhill after that. Well,
I think the next one, in the Green Arrow one, I think they're fighting the Batman Who Laughs. I think.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, we know they can't win because Metal is still ongoing.
Oh, maybe that'd be like, they like kill him and he's like gone for the rest of the series.
Yeah, wouldn't that be fucked up if he wins? It's like, yeah, bet you didn't see that coming, did you? Because it's like Batman Who Laughs is not the main villain of the event, it's Barbatos.
Yeah, they're like kind of like positioning him like he is.
We've definitely seen and heard more of him in the last couple issues than we have Barbatos.
Well, he's the one who's like responsible for the other Batman and everything, and
all coming together, yeah.
Yeah, and going to all these universes and everything.
Also, let's answer this once and for all. I mentioned this on the weekly poll this week, and I think I should mention it here for our fans. How do you pronounce it? Is it Barbatos? Is it Barbatos? Is it Barbados?
I say Barbatos. I don't know. It's really, I like sounded out Barbatos.
Barbatos. I want to say Barbatos or Barbatos, but then I'm like, that sounds too close to Barbasol, and that's not frightening at all.
He's a giant can of Barbasol.
Oh no, Barbasol's coming to get us, everybody get down. I come from the evil shaving cream dimension. That's what this has all been about. Barbatos has come to this dimension to steal their reserves of shaving cream. I come from a horrible universe.
It's the new metal.
I come from a horrible universe where there's nothing but beards and everyone is unclean shaven. So this is all I want. Really, dude? You just wanted some shaving? I mean, look, dude, we could give you some shaving cream. You didn't need to do all this evil gate nonsense.
You didn't need to drop Batman into a molten hot lava.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, man, sorry. I'm always overdoing things. That's what my wife always told me. I'm sorry, guys. We cool pound it. And then Barbatos went back to his own dimension.
And he died on the way home.
It's funny, too, because like when I stop and think about it, we really haven't actually seen Barbatos yet. We saw him in the background with all the other Dark Knights, but he was wearing like a big like bat hood, so we don't even know what he looks like. Yeah,
I don't know whether we actually... I think we will see him, but I don't think we'll see him. They'll probably keep him a bit, because I imagine he's not going to like die at the end of this. They'll keep him around for every other event, every other year and everything.
Yeah, and even like in the Grant Morrison stories where they made reference and stuff, we just saw like cave paintings of him or like weird hallucinations where he was just like this big spectral bat.
Mm. Yeah.
So to think he actually has a physical form is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Speaking of gods, this week we had a really awesome finale to an arc that's been ongoing. The Mighty Thor, issue number 23.
Right.
You still haven't caught up on Thor, have you, Matt?
No, I haven't had any time.
Yeah, I guess it's busy, man. It's a busy time. But this one was very satisfying. This was Jane Foster Thor versus Volstagg the War Thor, with, the fate of the Ultimate Hammer hanging in the balance.
Yep, I remember when Volstagg was coming around.
The idea is we actually learn a lot about the nature of the Ultimate Hammer, and that is that it seems to be acting something like a parasite, and that is if you touch it, it feeds on like your anger and your rage and your negative emotions and everything, and that's how it was pretty much able to take control of Volstagg.
Okay.
Jane, ironically, knocks it out of his hand, picks it up, and there's a second there where she's dual-wielding 2 hammers. It's pretty fucking sick is what it is, but the idea is even she's like, oh wow, this is way too much power for one person to have. She's like, she basically goes Super Saiyan for a second. She's like, got all this electricity all over her, and she's like, I should really put this down.
I wonder if that maybe like has something to do with that, because on the cover of those new Avengers books, there's like this electricity coming from Mjolnir, and it's forming a person. And like, and people have sort of theorized that maybe like the hammer is going to become like a hero and actually take on a form.
Well, as we know now, not only is our Mjolnir in 616 alive, the Ultimate Hammer is alive too. So yeah, they could very easily have a personification. What's fun about this one too is that Odinson comes like on in to help save the day because Volstagg's doing his whole like, no, I'm going to summon a bloodstorm that will destroy the entire Dark Elf realm, and then Odinson crashes into him on his flying goat. Hey, I'm here to help. And then there's a great moment there where it's like, okay, so he's down and the hammer's there. Is, Odinson gonna pick up the Ultimate Hammer now? And he's like, nah, I'm pretty sure this shit's too evil. I'm gonna send it away. And he literally, like, nags the hammer into flying away. He's like, shoot, bad hammer, go away, bad hammer. And the hammer legit fucks off to be a problem another day. And I'm like, oh, yeah, someone's going to pick up that hammer. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day.
Yeah, someone will come around to pick it up.
Yeah, we're not done with War Thors yet. I think I like this idea they're stating there where it's like, look, there's a hammer, but it's not as good as Mjolnir. Like, you need to be pretty pure of heart and pretty, like, zen or it'll fuck with you.
Yeah, you gotta have your vitality up a bit higher and
all the way. Yeah, you got to put your right stats on there. I kind of like this idea where it's like a hammer that's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because it's like, oh, it's powerful, but it carries with it the rage of a universe that was destroyed. And I'm like, that's pretty clever, that's pretty cool. And again, I still think this whole Death of Jane Foster thing, which that's what the next arc is going to be, starting with like issue 700 or 7 whatever for Thor.
Ooh.
I think that's what, again, because they're saying like, oh, the death of Jane Foster. I would not be surprised if it's just like, okay, the Jane Foster character dies, but Lady Thor gets to continue.
Yeah, I could definitely see them doing something like that.
Because I think she's been a real surprise hit for them, almost to the point where I feel like Jason Aaron intended her to die this way, where it's like, yeah, I gave her cancer, I gave her a ticking clock, of course she's gonna die. But you now see her in, like, cartoons and shit, and she's gotten, like, really popular, and, like, she's all over their multimedia now, to where it's like, well, does she have to stay dead for long, though? Yeah,
I kind of get the feeling he's probably meant to kill her, like, a while ago, like a long time ago, and not get to where it is now.
To where it's like, well, now she's got, like, 2 very well-received, very highly selling volumes under her belt. In fact, I don't know if it's still the case, but, like, female Thor was outselling male Thor at a point. Which it's like, hey, it's like, I don't know if Marvel needs more books at this time, but if they spun Jane out into her own book, I'd read it.
They don't need more books. God, no.
They really don't. It's too much. Which, hey, you know what? To say about Avengers No Surrender, at least they'll be getting rid of 2 books for that, like, 16-issue run.
Yeah.
At least they'll be doing that. But yeah, didn't you crunch the numbers? Isn't it something like 53 or something like that?
Yeah, compared to when... And that's just the ones tied in with Legacy that are getting, like, that little banner at the top. So that's... That does... And people were saying that doesn't include stuff like Runaways and... I guess all the other series, probably Punisher Platoon and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but, yeah, it's right. Like... It was like 53, 54, whereas compared to, like, when DC Rebirth started, and it's still going, they only have, like, 32, 33 books.
And they haven't canceled anything yet.
Nope.
Which is shocking. Like, again, even stuff like Cyborg and Blue Beetle and Superwoman are continuing. Which is pretty damn impressive. And again, like, I can understand Marvel's approach. It's like, oh, we want to offer a book for all tastes is what we're going to do. And because of that, yeah, they have some pretty interesting little successes there that sell, like, really good on digital and Amazon and everything. But I can also understand why it's freaking out the shops, where it's like, guys, it's not even so much about you competing with DC right now. You're competing with yourself for shelf space.
And the thing is as well, like each one of those gets like, you know, 10, 20 variants and fucking lenticular covers and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, it's a real thing. It's like, look, either embrace digital for some of these, or like do something. And
I don't think they've dropped prices on any of them, whereas DC did. Like I think someone was saying like it cost $5.99 for Legacy, and it was like 50 odd pages, whereas DC Rebirth was 80 pages, and cost $3.99.
Yeah, a lot of people are really steamed about the price point on that one.
Yeah.
Can't say I can blame them. But yeah, that was Thor, everyone. That's wicked awesome. Can't wait for a Legacy Thor. Jason Aaron has been writing one hell of an epic from like Marvel now to now.
Yeah, it's been going for a while.
It has been going, and I mean, I think when this is done, he's going to be right up there in the echelon of like great Thor writers. I think like him, Walt Simonson, Straczynski, even though technically Straczynski never got to finish his run because Straczynski never gets to finish anything. But man, those unfinished volumes are pretty good, though.
Hey man, he got to finish Superman Earth 1.
You sure did. I think Jurgens had a Thor run for a bit. I don't remember that one near as well, but everyone keeps telling me the Jurgens Thor run was pretty good.
Yeah, I can't even remember it.
No, I think he fought Thanos. I think it was like very cosmic Thor.
Okay. That sounds like Jurgens.
Yeah, sounds a lot like Jurgens. Now, what else did you have, Matt?
Infamous Iron Man issue 12, the final issue.
Didn't read this yet. Super stoked for it, though. I did leaf through the pages, though. It's Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom fighting Mephisto.
Yeah, and it's awesome. It's even funny because like Mephisto's like talking. It's like, this isn't fair. You know, Doctor Strange wasn't meant to be here. If he's here, you're too OP. You know, and you know, you have to suffer because you know the universe isn't interfering with any of this. So it kind of seems like they want you to suffer. So you need to die or whatever he wants to do with Doom. But Doom ends up killing him or banishing him to hell or whatnot. And he just kind of goes back being Iron Man for a little bit there. He just says, I got to go finish off rounding up Hydra. Some Hydra base in Brazil. It was really weird having him not being in Secret Empire.
Yeah, that is. I wonder if that was Bendis working like his whatchamacallit, his clout, being like, look, I don't want to have to be involved with this story, and I don't want anyone touching my story.
Yeah, like it's never even referenced like what Doom was up to in there. Like they could just say, he just hid out in the astral plane, coming up with a plan.
Yeah. But yeah, no, they don't even mention him.
Yeah, he wants to just go about being Iron Man, but Ben Grimm doesn't want him to. Ben Grimm wants him locked up, and for that he sends Ben Grimm to Amsterdam, and I don't exactly know what he does. He like gives him like an apartment or something, and just says like, here, chill here. You know, I'm not gonna fight you. Just chill, chill. But yeah,
I got you an MTV crib.
Yeah, basically, have one of my many cribs.
It's baller as shit. There's like there's a whole garage of people making Nikes just for you.
Yeah, thing-sized Nikes.
The chandelier is made of fine chicken dinners I've had throughout my life. Fridge is filled of dodo eggs because that's baller.
Well, what was really cool is that it sets up, I guess, what's going to be happening in Invincible Iron Man with him, whereas we get to see all the villains he put away, the 42 or 32 villains he put away, and they're all like, hey man, fuck dude, he broke the code, man, he snitched on us.
Broke the villainous bro code.
And they're all like, okay man, we'll break out of prison at once and go get him, and I'll just make a call. One of them says, I'll just phone up a guy, he can break us out.
Nice.
Yeah, and the ending is really interesting as well, because I think he had a relationship with that Amara woman, didn't he?
Yes, him and Tony both did.
Yeah, so she's pregnant now.
And I guess she doesn't know who the father is. Might be Dr. Doom, might be Tony.
Yeah, it might be a little Doom baby.
Oh, little Doom babies. Uh-oh. The heir to Latveria, the heir to Doom.
Give him a little Doom armor.
Aw, it's adorable. Baby's first Doom armor. Aw. And hey, it's already made of bronze, so you don't need to bronze it like the baby shoes when it's done. See, Dr. Doom thinks ahead.
He knows what's up.
Yeah. Hey, this might also be like a catalyst for Dr. Doom to break bad again, where she's like, no, I don't want you to see your kid. You're like an evil, slightly reformed supervillain.
Well,
like,
at this point, he's still a good guy, and I'm glad he is. I'm glad it didn't, like, at the end, him seeing his mother and everything turn him evil again.
Yeah. I mean, it's only a matter of time until he gets evil, and I mean, once Tony gets back in his body, which I'm sure will be soon, I can only imagine some sparks are gonna fly between him and Doom.
Yeah, well, Tony kind of wanted Doom to be Iron Man, didn't he? Or kind of, sort of, like, he was toying with the idea, and then Doom's like, that's a good idea, I've already built a suit, bye.
The AI he left behind sure didn't want him to be Iron Man, but then again, that AI is also a little evil and maybe a little untrustworthy.
Yeah.
Although it will be interesting, though, if Tony's like, okay, I'm back, I'm going to be Iron Man again, and Doom's like, nah, I'm being Iron Man now.
I would actually like if he didn't be, he came back and like, I'm done with that shit. I'm done.
Yeah, wouldn't that be interesting?
I'm just going to run my company with my mum.
He literally could now, because you got Riri there and you got Dr. Doom, and you're like, nah, I think the world's set for Dr. Doom, so I think we're all right.
And maybe that AI Tony might stay around, so he's got that in a suit as well, like in Secret Empire.
You can have a whole new Iron Legion.
Oh, because that always worked out well.
Yeah, exactly. That never went horribly wrong. But then again, that's every Tony Stark story ever. This will never go horribly wrong. Also, too, things are going so well, I've decided I'm going to start drinking again.
Yeah, just a sip. Just a sip on celebration days.
That's how Dr. Doom brings him down. Hey, so happy you're alive. Here's a bottle of the finest, most delicious scotch ever.
Ledverian ale.
Oh, I'm just gonna put that on the table. I'm gonna turn my back, and if it's gone when I turn back, that's just what it is. Damn Doom, you bastard! I gotta go call my sponsors. Gotta go work my 12 steps. Oh shit, that's fun. That's good stuff. So yeah, Iron Man, infamous Iron Man, big finale. Go check it out, and then I'm sure go check out Iron Man when that all starts up again, because that's going to be the continuation.
Yeah, on issue, I don't know, whatever, 600 or whatever it's on.
Yeah, whatever one. Whichever one. We'll have to learn all the new numbers soon enough, but not today. Alright, I guess the last one I had before we talk about the big guns, I had Nightwing New World Order #2.
Yeah, this was a really good book.
It was. This one opened up and explained everything the first issue didn't, and that is apparently in this dark alternate future, getting superpowers is as easy as getting a gun in America, aka too easy. And people use them in road rage incidents, which is bad. But then a lot of lobbyists are like, can take my powers off my cold dead hands. And other people are like, why do you need pyrokinesis to hunt deers? Does that not just seem incredibly excessive to you? And they're like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's basically rednecks hunting deer with a grenade launcher.
Look, in a world, if you outlaw superpowers, only outlaws will have superpowers, okay? But what about all these superheroes who don't? Look, you just don't understand the issues. Fake news.
Yeah. Nightwing would just drug them up with those drugs.
Yeah, Nightwing decides, you know what, this is kind of bullshit. After a big fight between the Justice League and the Injustice League, he's like, look, I have this device that takes away 90% of the superpowers from everyone on Earth.
Yeah, how he got that device, we don't know yet.
That's probably got to be the next thing. It's like, yeah, who had the God Mod device over here?
Yeah, probably Batman, but he would never use it.
That's the thing. It's like, yeah, that's actually perfect, Matt. Yeah, I found this in Batman's basement.
Yeah, and everyone's like, oh, makes sense. Makes sense.
And Bruce is like, didn't you see the sticky note, Dick, that said never use? Got it right next to my kryptonite ring and my Tower of Babel playbook and everything else. Keep that all in the special basement. In the cabinet with the booze and the porn, too. Keep it all together. But yeah, as we find out too, one of the people that he depowered was actually his wife, Starfire, and the mother of his child, Jake.
Yeah, who now has his mother's powers, and they're getting stronger and stronger.
They also answer a very important question. It's like, okay, well, what if you don't, like, what if you weren't in an accident that gave you metahuman powers? What if you're genetically predisposed to have powers, like if you have alien DNA? And the answer is, yeah, well, then we don't actually have drugs strong enough to treat you.
Yeah, which is probably why Superman's still wandering around. Have you seen that other cover of him?
I did.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
They're also implying that there's like a corporate sellout Justice League too that is in the pocket of this crazy New World Order government.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to find out who's on that team.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, could it be people whose powers are easily controlled, or the people like, you know, like Green Arrow or Catwoman, where it's like, well, technically I'm superhuman, but only because I'm really good at one thing, not because I have powers.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Damian was on that team as the new Batman or something.
Yeah, because Damian's a little sellout shit. He would be all about that.
Yeah.
And I'm Batman now in this new Dark World Order, and no one can tell me what to do.
Yeah, except for Dick Grayson.
Except for Dick Grayson, who was my boss, apparently. But we always had a good relation. He was more my dad than my dad was. I love Dick way more. Go read our Grant Morrison Batman and Robin run. It was really good. But yeah, it was, well, also too, like, because we saw another super character. That was Dr. Holt. That was Mr. Terrific, who's like the head of science for this crazy thing. Yep,
that was Mr. Terrific, who also appeared at the end of the Suicide Squad book.
Oh, nice. And you know it's him too, because he's talking about T-spheres.
Yeah.
Dude loves his spheres, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Look, Dick, I know you're outlawed all superhumans on Earth, Anthony, but can I keep my T-spheres? You can keep your T-spheres. Awesome. That's all I wanted. But if you misbehave, though, we'll take your T-spheres away from you.
Oh, don't take my T-spheres.
They're literally all I have. That and being one of the smartest people in the world, but, like, not Batman smart, which is always unfortunate. That's gotta suck about Mr. Terrific, where it's like, you're one of the smartest, greatest minds in the universe. But for story purposes, Batman will always be smarter, though.
Yeah, of course.
Because, like, Marvel, you always have, like, the meeting of the big brains, like the Starks and the Reed Richards and, you know, everything else. DC does it, too, but not nearly as much.
No.
It would be, like, Batman, Mr. Terrific, the Doctor who's part of Firestorm, Adam Strange, maybe, he'd be there, too. Or not Adam Strange, who's there? There's too many fucking Stranges.
Stephen Strange?
Yeah, the Jetpack Strange.
Yeah.
The guy in the fucking jetpack.
Adam Strange, yeah.
Adam Strange. Thank you. Yeah, he'd be fucking there too. There'd be that whole thing going on. But yeah, New World Order, cool, and also bad week for Alfred, right?
He dies in 2 separate books.
2 separate books this week killed the shit out of Alfred. He just can't win.
Maybe it makes up for him coming back to life in Injustice 2.
I guess that's the one. Also, you were telling me they killed him in Gotham, too, so it's just freaking open season on killing Alfred.
Yeah, on the show Gotham, like, I think, like, the end of last season, they killed him. He came back, though.
Yeah. I guess that's the ultimate way in the Batman universe to up the stakes, to be like, yo, they killed Alfred, though. Shit got real.
God, it's getting dark.
Also, too, you know, Dick learns the ultimate lesson in this universe. If they'll do it with you, they'll do it to you, as his evil governmental regime turns on him. And all through it, though, he's like, no, I got this, man. No, I can work the system. I can work within the system. Oh, I can't work within the system? Shit.
Oh, no, that system I made is, like, turning on me? Oh, the curse your inevitable betrayal.
Yeah, man, I did not foresee this biting me in the ass. Which is interesting, too, because, again, if they're doing, like, the whole equilibrium thing, and this does feel a lot like equilibrium.
Yep.
I wonder, now he'll probably have to break out and join whatever the Resistance is, and they seek to imply that the Resistance is being led by Wally West, who's going around destroying shit.
Something like that, yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense, because how are you going to get a speedster to give up his powers?
Yeah, you got to catch him first.
Which you can't. And he can also come at you whenever, wherever, because he's a fucking speedster. I could just imagine Dick being like, come on, Wally, take your pill. He's like, no, you can't catch me.
You make me.
Yeah, make me, Dick. I'm not saying your name. I'm actually calling you a dick for making me take these pills and taking over the world and depowering all our friends. So suck it. Bye. See, that's why I like Flash so much. But it's like, man, it's funny they do so many stories about like Batman going to the dark side and Superman going to the dark side. Why not Barry? He's such a god mod. He could literally kill everybody and they wouldn't know.
Read the new arc. The new arc is about Barry kind of breaking bad a little bit.
He got negative speed force in him and he's becoming a monster mash. That's right.
Yeah, apparently he's going to have that for a while. He's like fighting a brand new villain called Bloodwork at the moment who can control people's blood.
Oh, he's a bloodbender from Avatar.
But yeah, he congeals Barry's blood so he can't move and like he's in pain and everything. He's a really cool villain. But yeah, it looks like he's like gonna have that power for like quite a while because like Wally West is training him how to use it. I don't know how Wally West would know how to use it.
Yeah, I guess his dad was an evil speedster, but he never knew his dad. I
don't know.
Look, things I've heard about my dad has told me. Look, I looked on the Google and searched how to use negative speed force, and this is what came back.
He just looked up, like, anger management training. Because that's what sets off Barry's power, is, like, anger.
So he's the Speed Hulk now.
Yeah, so just, count 20.
Barry smash! Barry no like negative speed
that's
force.
Something that's terrifying. The Hulk with speed force abilities.
Oh God, that is OP. That is not even nerf that in the next update. That's nerf that now. That's broken. But he'd be really dumb too. So it's like, would he even be smart enough to comprehend the speed force power that he has?
Well, that's the thing. He'd just run and just like not understand what's happening and just keep running until he like went back in time or something, disintegrated the earth in half or something.
I guess until like he starved to death, because like how many proteins would the Hulk need to eat to run using the speed force? A lot.
Yeah.
Then he'd just start eating people and like that'd be fun.
Then it just turns into like Old Man Logan. He's like a hillbilly with speed force powers eating people.
And all the heroes are like, man, we really need to get on this, like, ASAP. This is really bad. This is like this is like a crisis and everything else level bad. That's a fun bit of fan fiction. So, I mean, I guess with that, do you have anything else to talk about, or can we hop into our three big guns from this week?
I will just mention, what's the book called? Wonder Woman issue 31.
Yes, The Dark Sides.
Yeah, it was the start of James Robinson's run on the book. Nice. And yeah, Grail comes back and we find out that it, like, her story is she's going all Highlander on the old gods. So like Hercules, she kills Hercules this issue. she sucks his life force and gives it to her father. I guess that's a good way to clean up the old gods who are left behind from the Azarello run. Yeah, she basically says that you're the old gods, we are the new gods. You have to serve us, and by doing that, you have to give us our life force. And
fair enough.
Yeah, she's been giving her life force of these gods to her father, who is like I guess like a 13-year-old boy now.
Oh, he's Darkseid.
Yeah, he's not baby Darkseid anymore, like in Metal.
He's going through an awkward teenage phase, Darkseid.
Which is handy because now you can gauge when this story takes place compared to Metal.
Exactly. I imagine teenage Darkseid writing on his live journal, man, life is a fuck. I can't wait until I get the anti-life equation. Then I don't gotta live with my mom anymore, who's also technically my daughter.
His blog would be called The Source Wall.
Yes, 1,000,000 times. Yes, it would be. Yeah, this is a place where I upload a lot of pirated material, a lot of songs I like. That's good stuff. Man, in the comment section down below, everyone, give us your best teenage Darkseid. What does teenage Darkseid do with his day?
This is Linkin Park.
Man, I'm gonna go on Facebook and I'm gonna cyberbully the Teen Titans. You'll see.
We're Cyborg, guys. Where's Cyborg?
Hey, Garfield Logan, you should kill yourself. You should just kill yourself. Hey, your family on the Doom Patrol doesn't even love you. They don't even mention you. But then you, like, don't mention them either, which is weird, but, like, whatever. You should kill yourself. Hey, Starfire, aren't you too old to be a teen? You're like the den mother of the team, but you're still on the Teen Titans. Shouldn't you be on the Justice League by now?
Hey, Damien, your dad's dead.
God damn it. Yeah, well, your dad is... Do you have a dad? I think you do. Just no one cares who Darkseid's father is. Actually, I think Darkseid's father showed up like in a weird like tie-in at one point.
I think so, yeah.
His name was like something Khan. And he's like, I am the father of Darkseid, and there is nothing interesting about me.
Was it Yuga Khan?
Yep, that was him.
Yeah, because he was in the recent Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps issue.
Oh shit, was he really?
Yeah, the nth metal golems were trying to wake him up from the source wall.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah, but they didn't get to.
Yeah, so Wonder Woman, we got on a great tangent about Team Darkseid, but yeah, it's good you were saying.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And Wonder Woman's involved in it somehow because she's now like the heir to the Hercules fortune. Oh. Whatever that is.
Hercules was loaded? How did Hercules make his money?
Hercules was loaded, but he was like on Earth pretending to be like a Paul Bunyan guy, like a tree, like he was Dexter at the end of Dexter.
Lumberjack.
Yep.
Lumberjack's coming through. No, I'm not Hercules.
Yeah, and he has to cut trees down in the middle of the nights because like he's too strong, so he cuts them in like one swing.
Right, of course.
No one can see.
Because he's so awesome. And now he's so dead.
Yeah, he's plenty dead.
So yeah, anything else to say about Wonder Woman?
Nah, it was a cool issue.
Alright, and with that we can hop into the first of the three books I know everyone talks about. Action came out this week, and we got the secret origin of Jor-El to see how he turned from Jor-El to Mr. Oz.
Oh, and it was interesting.
It was dark as fuck. This is probably the darkest book I read this week. Like, this was uncompromising and savage.
Yeah, I really didn't expect him to go this way.
No. It's we literally see him the moment he is whisked away from Krypton, the moment it blows up, but not quick enough because he gets all like mangled and his face fucked up.
Yeah, he gets a nice big piece of kryptonite shoved through his eye.
Yeah, that will not buff out. That will not be cleared up with some alcohol. That's bad. And then if it's not bad enough, he lands powerless in some war-torn region of Africa.
Yeah, or that. Before that, Dr. Manhattan like freezes him in time and lets him watch Lara die.
They don't say it's Dr. Manhattan, but it's clearly Dr. Manhattan.
Oh yeah, it's clearly.
It's a blue light. It's an omnipotent being. He even says it had to have been an incredibly powerful being who would do this.
Yeah, and just so people know, he's not working with Dr. Manhattan. He's not working with him.
No, not with him at least, although Detective would seek to imply that maybe he's a prisoner of Manhattan or an unwilling accomplice.
Yeah, I think he's kind of realized what Dr. Manhattan was doing to him and why he was showing him that and let him live.
Yeah. It's an interesting way, too, to explain where it's like, well, if he's been on Earth this long, how did he not develop powers? Well, because he had a bunch of kryptonite lodged in him, and they had to keep him in the dark to hide him from the local warlord that was starving people.
Mm-hmm. And then when he finally did go out, he decided to help the family who was helping him. And it kind of ended bad for the family.
Yeah, bit everyone in the ass. Like, he tries to do, like, the Robin Hood thing where it's like, oh, he's starving these people. I'll give them some food so they can eat, and I'll steal it from the general's camp, and then everything will be fine. Oh, the kid got a taste for food? Oh, he tried to trade some kryptonite for some more food? Oh, fuck, they know where I am? Oh, they killed everybody, huh?
Yo, the kid tattled?
Yeah, and then the general forced the kid to shoot his own family and then try and shoot me.
Yeah, and then his powers develop.
And then he kills everybody.
Yep.
And then you're like, wow, that was dark and depressing. What happened next? Oh, Manhattan stole him back from Earth and took him to that weird tower prison where he forced him to watch, like, the History Channel's greatest hits of humanity's most terrible atrocities.
Yeah, did the whole Clockwork Orange thing.
Shut.
Clockwork Orange, hold his eyes open, made him watch all this terrible, terrible stuff.
Hey, and then we got the Holocaust, and we got slavery, and we got everything else.
Yeah, it's like, this is where you sent your son.
Yeah. To where it's like, man, Jor-El, you didn't research this well enough, did you?
Yeah, and then like Clark says like, well, not all humanity is like that, but Jor-El doesn't really care.
No, he has seen the worst of humanity, and he's just like horrified. I like too the fact that we don't really know what the time frame was for Jor-El being on Earth and being taken. Mm-hmm. That was really good, because then I'm not asking the question of being like, well, why didn't Jor-El choose to look for his son? Oh, because he didn't have control over his own movements.
Yeah, well, once he became Mr. Oz, which I imagine we'll find out next issue, as the story continues, I imagine it was kind of a couple of years ago, or at least a couple of years ago, because he's been around for a while, looking over Clark and everything.
Nice touch too. We actually get a flashback to see Clark's grandfather on his mother's side, who we discover was actually Jor-El's biggest financial backer. Yeah,
that was really cool, because it retconned what happened with Krypton, but didn't retcon it. It added more stuff to it. Like, Clark only knew certain stuff because the recordings only went to when the planet was destroyed, and then some was erased and all that sort of stuff. Didn't change it at all.
No, it's the story you never knew, and I like that, because you're like, oh wow, Lor Van was kind of a dick, where he's like, oh, you, Jor-El, with your alarmist theories about the planet blowing up, I sunk so much money into your operation, and I'm becoming a laughingstock too and everything. I'm gonna rip up your plan for a space arc to save Krypton.
Yeah, and then delete all the files for it from Kellex.
Yeah, because I'm such a dick and everything. But I like that, because that further enforces what Jor-El says later, where he's like, the same sort of greed and corruption and evil that faced Krypton at the end, I see that reflected in Earth now, and they don't deserve you, son. They don't deserve you as a hero.
Yeah.
It's really well put together, because it's like, man, Jor-El, like, next to Uncle Ben, as far as, like, father figures that they've built up to be, like, these paragons of virtue and righteousness and everything, they really needed to sell how they lost all faith and all hope, and they sold it really well.
Yeah, really well. I'm really surprised that they managed to able to do it, and I attribute that to maybe, like, Jeff Johns having, like, the broad strokes of the series, whereas Dan Jurgens probably came in and just wrote it actually out.
There was a lot of places they could have fucked up on this reveal, and I'm happy to say they didn't fuck up on it, which is good.
Yep, two more parts left.
Someone else mentioned something interesting to me, too, where it's like, well, why would Dr. Manhattan be interested in saving Jor-El? And someone said, well, probably the same reason Dr. Manhattan took Batman to face his Flashpoint dad.
Well, no, yeah, that he did it to make Superman emotionally unstable, which will make him so once he reveals himself, he can't really do much against Dr. Manhattan, because he's too busy with that sort of stuff, or realizing what happened there, or maybe he wants them to feel like it's not all hopeful and like his universe, like the Watchmen universe,
like the world he came from. Yeah, that's very clever. That's some good old-fashioned psychological warfare is what that is.
Yep
To really fuck with him. But hey, you know what? The Oz train didn't stop there, because Mr. Oz was also the focal point of Detective Comics from this week as well.
He was. We got Tim Drake's return.
Back again after a very long absence. And it's funny, I would love to know the person who's only been reading Detective and has no idea what's going on in action, because they signpost it quite nicely. We see Tim Drake on trial, and it totally looks like the Zod trial from the movies, because he's got, like, the energy things around him and everything. And it's like, that's some really interesting Kryptonian technology, only for the reveal to be like, ha, I've been Jor-El all along.
I can imagine someone knowing, it's like, I don't want to read Superman. It's boring. I'll just read Detective Comics. And, what the hell is going on?
Oh, fuck, Superman's really important now? His dad's back and he's evil? What? How is Superman taking this? I better go read Action from this week. It's a really solid reveal. And a nice bit of writing, too, to have Jor-El say, Tim Drake, you and I are kindred spirits. We are geniuses who have often had the weight of the world on our shoulders.
And it's funny, because that's what I said when we found out that he was going to be confronting Tim. I said they're going to confront each other because they both are geniuses, and they probably both see something in each other.
Yeah, it's a really nice touch. They're drawing a really good parallel that I wasn't even considering until they mentioned it. And more than anything, if you're a fan of Tim Drake and if you're a fan of the Robins and you really, really hate the Scott Lobdell New 52 bullshit that said Tim Drake was never a Robin, you don't gotta worry because this one retcons it back to the old story.
Yep, it's no longer goddamn Scott Lobdell. His run is no longer canon.
Yep, you can throw that away now because none of it matters. Yeah. It's back to the old story. Tim Drake was a smart kid, realized that Batman was going a little off the deep end when Jason Todd died, cracked the case of who Batman and Robin was, endeared himself to the team, and eventually got invited on as Robin. In fact, the story is called A Lonely Place of Living, which is a reference to The Lonely Place of Dying, the story where he became Robin. They even borrow a bunch of panels, like when he puts the costume on for the first time, he's doing the fist thing. Really well put together.
Yeah, and the ending of this comic as well was kind of, what the hell is going on?
Didn't see that coming. And another really well put together bit, because, you know, Tim is talking to who he thinks is Batman. He's like, oh, Batman's going to come and save me. Then he runs into a Batman in the hall who's using a gun. And I almost complained. I'm like, that's not Batman's costume. You got it all wrong.
Not just any gun. The gun that killed Thomas and Martha Wayne, and he rebuilt it.
Yeah, to make it even more badass. And then, you know, he takes off his mask and goes, I'm not Bruce Wayne. I'm Tim Drake, the Batman of the future.
Yeah, the Titans Tomorrow Batman. That's a pull. Which makes sense as well, because that's a Jeff Johns book.
Yeah, it is. I'm like, oh, I love everything Jeff Johns, the new president, writes is canon. Isn't that funny how that happens?
Yeah, so I think it's probably safe to say that everything Jeff Johns has wrote for characters like Superman, Batman, or whoever else is canon.
Yep. I imagine they had a big office meeting. It's like, well, so I'm president now, and my first order of business is more baseball caps, for one. Friday will now be baseball cap day, and also he pulls out a whiteboard. So this is everything I wrote, and this is canon, and that's everything else, and that's not.
You gotta write around this.
You gotta write around everything I wrote is canon. Which, hey, you know what? It's a good thing everything he's written has usually been pretty goddamn good, because if not, I might complain. He's the only person who can go, everything I wrote is canon. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
He's literally the only writer who can get away with that, or one of the only writers who can get away with that. Now, the funny thing, too, about Batman of Tomorrow showing up, and, you know, maybe you can agree with this, too, I'm like, is Batman of Tomorrow really there, or is he just hallucinating him? Because Mr. Oz said, you know, this prison, this tower, is my prison, too, and it, like, fucks with your head and shows you stuff.
Maybe. He could be that other prisoner that was kind of hinted at, maybe.
Right. It also builds the idea, too, where it's like, so if he's got guys here from the multiverse in this prison, who else could possibly be there?
Yeah, well, I don't think there'll probably be any more big reveals of who's in the prison. I think they've kind of stopped that with Mxyzptlk, and obviously Doomsday is now free.
Right. Then there's Prodigy, who's in there somewhere as well. That weird multiversal Superman who was trying to steal other Superman's powers.
Yeah, Prophecy or whatever his name was.
I think it was Prodigy. I know it's really confusing because there's Prophecy and Prodigy and Relic, who looks like them but isn't them.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then, like, there's Mongol, where it's like they all look like Mongol is what they look like. But they're not. They're big evil space warlords who are, like, all big and bulky, but they're not the same.
Yeah.
They should meet each other, Prophecy and Prodigy and Mongol, and be like, hey, you ever notice we look alike? Are we brothers? Is that canon or fanon? Are we part of the same race? Wouldn't that be interesting? And technically, there's two Mongols, because there's Mongol, then his son, Mongol, too. Yeah. Oh, and they have a daughter, too, so there's actually 3 Mongols.
God damn it.
I know, right? Comics are weird. But Detective Comics was weird in a good way.
It was really good.
This is a strong new arc they're kicking off, and I love that after taking Tim off the table for so long, they kind of made the heart grow fonder and be like, oh, no, now he's going to have a whole arc dedicated to him.
Yeah, it's a good arc as well, good starting issue.
And also, too, where it's like, hey, if you haven't been reading the Superman books, you really should.
Yeah, it's good that they were affecting the other books, whereas they never really did that in the New 52.
No. Usually it's the other way around. Usually the Batman books would affect everyone else, so it's fun to see a Superman book affect everyone now.
Yep.
Good stuff. So yeah, I mean, action, detective, both really strong this week, and they're like sister books now, so you really need to start reading both, apparently. Most def. So, I mean, I guess with that, everyone, we're almost heading into the hour 40 mark, and I think we can talk about the big one from this week, the one that everyone was clamoring for.
The one that everyone was clamoring for and turned out to be a big disappointment.
Everyone was complaining about. I wouldn't say it disappointed me, but I wouldn't say like it met my expectations either. It was perfectly fine, which I'm sure some people would argue that's even worse. That at least if it was bad, you would have something to complain about, but that it was middle of the road is maybe more of a failure.
It's probably because I was expecting something like DC Rebirth, like something with a through-line story that was you can read all these, but you don't have to. This is the story that's going to be fueling us for the next however many years. It's a really good story. Whereas this one, every other page was like a new story. Like you got to pick up this comic to read, and this comic, and this comic, and then there was that page at the end that vaguely threatened us with the 53 books.
Yeah. It's funny, everyone was very quick to say, hey, that was just like DC Rebirth, as if they were the first ones to think of this, when we're all like, yeah, we knew it was going to be before it started. The only difference is, as you mentioned, Matt, DC Rebirth Universe #1 was every bit the preview book Marvel Legacy was, but it had a very strong through line of Wally West, a character who had been gone so long, the character that everyone had been yelling for to come back.
Yep.
We got that. We got a complete story, and we got a set of previews in there, too. I had thought Marvel Legacy, the through line, was going to be the Avengers BC. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
they're going to they're going to be the overarching story. We're going to keep going back to them. We're going to jump into the heads of the people who, have connections to those characters.
Yep.
Only that didn't happen.
Yeah, they were in, like, the first, 2-3 pages, if that.
Something even though they were all over the promotional material.
Yeah.
We got a beautiful splash page of them all standing together. To think they had such a small part of this.
Yeah, they were barely in it. We barely even got introduced to any of them.
I think the idea is that maybe Jason Aaron is going to be writing them in a book next. That's like the little taste, and when he's done his next couple projects, they're going to have the Avengers BC book.
Probably, but it would have served better if it was like the Wally West story in DC Rebirth.
They were also fighting a Celestial, but a much bigger Celestial who looks different than the ones we've seen before, either because it's an ancient Celestial or because it's stronger or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
They spend most of the book fighting its arm, so I mean, I will give it credit. They sell the massiveness of this thing.
Yeah.
Also, I'm no expert of the Marvel cosmology, but someone said to me that that personal Celestial talks about the final host, which is something that Celestials have made reference to before in other books, that like every time a Celestial has come to Earth, that's a different host. There's been like the first host to the fourth host, but the final host is supposed to be the one that like wipes out all life on Earth.
Oh, Jesus. Again,
I know, right? It's like, oh, must be a day that ends in Y in comic book land, something that's gonna wipe out all life on Earth.
It'll wipe out all life on Earth, and it'll happen to start in New York.
Yeah, because New York is the center of everything
in the Marvel universe.
It's almost like our offices are here. It's almost like everything comes back to New York. I was surprised to see Robbie Reyes have such a strong part to play in.
Yeah.
I love Robbie to death, and he's been swept under the rug ever since S.H.I.E.L.D. came out.
Yep.
I also get the sneaking suspicion, too, Jason Aaron didn't actually read the Robbie book and only watched him on S.H.I.E.L.D. Because here's the thing, there's the whole point of Robbie being like, oh, I'm having these weird dreams of another prehistoric Ghost Rider who is connected to the Spirit of Vengeance, even though I shouldn't be, because I don't actually have the Spirit of Vengeance. My spirit is my evil uncle Eli Morrow giving me power. Mine is different than Johnny Blaze's, but I don't think Jason Aaron knew that.
Yeah. It would have been better if, like, maybe this was like the return of Johnny Blaze, because there was a return of a bunch of different characters, and they should have just had him rock up on the motorbike in Africa,
Yeah, I was very conflicted because on one hand I'm like, yay, Robbie, but then I'm like, oh, this doesn't quite match up though, but yay, Robbie. I will not look a gift horse in the mouth. He actually has a really cool fight with Starbrand, which I liked.
Yeah, Starbrand, another character who's been, I guess, called because of the Avengers 1 million or whatever,
Yeah.
10 million or whatever.
And I just call them the Avengers BC for short.
Yeah.
Let us all start that now. As the comic multiverse says, just call them the Avengers BC.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's that. There's a bunch of different returns and other stuff. Loki, we see getting together an army of frost giants to go rob a shield installation as they're moving shit to Area 51. That was kind of funny, too, because I'm like, well, is Loki really evil now? I mean, Jason Aaron writes this and writes the Thor book, and Loki and Thor has kind of been like a double, triple agent who's a little conflicted right now.
Yeah, but this, like, seems like evil, because we find out that he's after an Infinity Stone.
Yeah, that he's like
he
trying
wants
to
power.
amass. Yeah, he's trying to amass power for something. Like, oh, Loki hasn't really been like that in a bit. I mean, I'll take your word for it, Jason Aaron, because you're writing the Thor book, but it just feels a little out of character for him at this time.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we can agree the best moment was Ben Grimm and the Human Torch standing on top of the Baxter Building, firing up the big four into the air.
Yeah, wondering if they're still relevant.
Really beautiful moment, and Ben saying, you know what, Johnny, it doesn't matter who forgot, we're going to make them remember.
Yeah, which gets me really excited.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for their 2-in-1. I'm really excited for their 2-in-1.
Where the first arc is called The Fate of the Four. Now, that's a sell. That's how you sell a book right there.
Yep.
And again, it's like, I hope you mean that, Marvel. I hope that you are going to let the Fantastic Four come back and be relevant again. That kind of seemed to be the feelings with a couple of these, where it's like, look, we're sorry we took these toys out of the box, we're putting them back now.
Yeah, I think they're starting to realize what made their universe really great, and they've realized that, oh, half of these aren't actually here anymore.
Well, even not even just what made it great, even just like, you have all of these, why are you fencing some of these off? Why? Because you don't have the movie rights to them? Isn't that a little petty? Should not the point of comics be that you can do whatever you want regardless of who has movie rights?
Yep.
Is it not? And again, it's like, no writer made that decision. No editor made that decision. That was all Ike Perlmutter being a dick.
Yeah, being a cheap ass.
Yeah, that was the money man at the top with no creative bone in his body who's never written anything, being like, no movies, no play in comics, let us not promote these characters, and the X-Men have to exist here in their little corner, and they don't get to interact with anybody.
Yeah, they weren't actually in Marvel Legacy, were they? They were kind of strangely... or two of them were.
There was a few strange absences, actually. Daredevil doesn't show up. Really, none of the street-level characters besides Iron Fist shows up.
Yeah, that bit with Iron Fist was pretty funny. Norman Osborn couldn't get past the shrubbery.
I love the idea that Norman Osborn is on such hard times now he's just trying to break into brownstones in New York City. Which, again, it's like, that moment there is the perfect example of, like, DC Universe Rebirth #1 was very, like, new reader friendly. Marvel Legacy is not new reader friendly.
No.
In fact, it's referencing shit that happened, like, last week.
Yeah. That Norman Osborn thing, I'm like, what the hell why is he trying to steal magic? What's going on?
That was last week in Amazing Spider-Man. He had a whole story devoted to himself where he's like, I want to become the Green Goblin again. But Peter Parker gave me, like, a nanomachine cure that stops the serum from, bonding to my cells anymore.
Yeah.
And he tries therapy, and he tries surgery, and he tries all these other things to get his goblin powers back. And when that doesn't work, he climbs one of Marvel's many magical mountains and goes and trains in a magic monastery for a little bit.
And then he decided, like, fuck this, I'm just going to go break into the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Well, it's funny, the monks are like, oh, we just realized you're really fucking evil, and if we give you magic powers, you'll be a dick about them. We're kicking you out of our monastery, and we're also phoning up every other Magic Marvel monastery and telling them not to let you in. We're blacklisting you from all of them.
They had to Xerox his driver's license and post it on the door.
And Norman's like, fine then, fuck you. I know it can be done. I'll get magic powers some other way. Which is kind of interesting, because this kind of ties into this greater idea that they're running with, where a bunch of men of science in Marvel are doing magic now. Like Tony Stark and infamous Iron Man is doing magic. Doctor Doom, of course, science magic, doing all this stuff.
Yeah, the Doctor Strange, for a time, they had to rely on science.
Yeah. It's an interesting kind of idea they're doing. I hope we get to see more of that get played with.
Yeah.
Then, of course, the other big reveal is that, much like Stone Cold Steve Austin before him, Wolverine came in driving a beer truck to do a run-in on some frost giants. That was kind of a sweet moment, too, because, like, Jean Grey's like, oh, I'm going to visit, Logan's grave. I'm here to visit, the metal statue that is him, only to see that it's torn open.
Yeah, so it's definitely him that's back. And not some Mystique dressing up as him or something. No.
Which I think we can all admit where it's like, okay, it's cool Wolverine's back and everything, but does he not seem incredibly superfluous now in a world where we have Laura, who's doing awesome, Old Man Logan, who I think is more interesting than regular Wolverine was before he died. We got Jimmy Hudson.
Yeah, Daken is back.
Daken. So we got like 4 Wolverines right now.
We have Laura's clone Gabby.
Oh shit! Yeah, she's an extra Wolverine, so that's 6.
It's the Wolverine family.
I know there's already like a dozen Spider people, but it's like it's hard enough to write good Wolverine stories, and like I think when they killed him, it was the right time to, because it's like he's too powerful now. He's too much of a god mod. His healing factor is too much. I like they made him an old, withered, tired, cynical dude whose healing factor like doesn't work near as well.
Yeah, well, we also have goddamn Weapon H now. He's basically Wolverine, but can Hulk.
God damn it! There's too many.
Maybe he'll just go on like a killing spree and just kill everyone.
Unless this is the way Marvel finally wants to explain, like, look, there needs to be a Wolverine on every team next year, and this is how we do it.
Yeah, they'll send one off to the Guardians, and then one on to the Astonishing X-Men, and then Weapon X, and...
every X-Men team and every Avenger team can have a Wolverine now, guys, and any book that's failing, we'll just put Wolverine in there, too. It'll be great. We can just print money.
Yeah.
This is what will get us back in the green, everybody, the 6-point Wolverine plan.
Oh, God.
They do at least imply that Wolverine is back now with some sort of purpose to him. That's why he hasn't revealed to everyone else that he's alive, that he's working on something, and that it's probably connected to the Infinity Stones, not gems.
Yep, making it like the movies.
Making it like the movies. Although, I had a couple interesting theories about this one, and some fans who actually knew more about rock science than me in geology said something to me that kind of lit my brain.
They're minerals, Joel.
They're minerals. No, even more so than that, one guy who, ironically, his screen name was Bloody Topaz, so already he has a rock thing in his name, was like, well, Joel, a stone is just an unrefined gem.
Ooh.
So are the Infinity Stones raw, more powerful versions of the gems, or are these the second coming of the gems? Because wasn't the Infinity Gauntlet and the Stones like destroyed at the beginning of Hickman's Avengers when they tried to stop the incursions? Isn't that why we haven't seen them in a bit?
Oh, you're asking me to remember too far back, but I'm pretty sure. It's
a long time ago now. Like, that was very early on. Like, is this their way of like bringing them back just in time for the Infinity War movie?
Yeah, but I don't know what Logan's gonna be doing with them. It's very interesting, and like obviously through All New Guardians of the Galaxy, Gamora's searching for them as well.
Yes,
and
they
make reference to as well. So that's going to be very interesting. What stone did he have? I asked this question on Twitter, and no one could seem to answer it.
No one could answer because
I just said he had the Mind Stone because it was blue, and if they're going to make him like the movies, then.
Yeah, the ones in the movies are different from the ones in the comics, but we might be seeing this one from the same time, and even then artists screw up sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it could be interesting. I had another theory. I pitched this one to you on Twitter, but a lot of people felt this was fan fiction-y. I'll let people in the comments section decide. Obviously, of course, Celestials and the Infinity Stones have like this deep-seated connection and everything. We see this Celestial on Earth that looks different than the Celestials we've seen before. Could it be possible that they're doing like a Beyonder thing where it's like, oh no, there's 2 groups of Celestials. There's the ones that make gems, and then there's the ones that make stones.
Yeah, maybe.
That might be a little too high concept. That might be a little too fan fiction-y, where it's like, no, this is how you explain how stones are a thing now, and how stones are different than gems, because they were made by different Celestials.
Well, maybe they could explain it like they're connected, whereas like this Celestial is the one who's like, he's like the original one who made the original stones.
Right.
Like, that was his idea.
Yeah, because they say he's looking for something on Earth that's celestial, which I can only assume it was that stone.
Yeah, that or he's looking for the final host.
Right. Or he is the final host.
Yeah.
But he's calling down the final host.
I don't know. Goddamn.
I guess we'll have to keep reading to find out. Although they don't say what book to read to see how that follows.
They just give you a checklist at the back.
Where it's like, well, what if I want to follow this story, though? What book do I... That'll probably be the next event in a year.
Yeah.
We'll probably drop little references to that, and then, once they're done everything, that'll be the event. The Avengers, Marvel, the final host.
When's Infinity War come out? In May next year. That's when the event will happen. The big Infinity Gauntlet or whatever. Infinity something event. It's like DC with Crises. It's Infinity something.
Infinity 2, Electric Infinity Aloo.
Yeah, something like that.
And then, of course, the big final reveal, which I felt ultimately kind of undercut the Logan thing. We see Franklin and Valeria Richards still out in the deep recesses of space, helping to, seed universes with their parents.
Yep, and their parents are definitely alive.
Yes, and we also find out that Valeria was the one who was narrating this, which to the point it's like, man, you almost needed to read this twice once you found out it was her talking.
Yeah.
Which, that's cool. I like seeing them again.
Yeah, it gives me hope that maybe they might come back, and they might, because they even put like the little Fantastic Four logo down the bottom and everything.
If nothing else, I will say Marvel Legacy did end up being hopeful, if nothing else, which is nice, because, as much as I enjoyed Secret Empire, it was many things, but hopeful it was not. For a good chunk of it, it's almost like, man, you're fucked, we're fucked, everything's fucked. At least this one was like, hey, everyone's back and everything's cool, maybe. The question is, can they actually stay to this? Is this just to tease us? Is this just to blue ball us? Or will we actually get to see OG Wolverine? Will we actually get to see the Fantastic Four do stuff?
Yeah, well, one can hope.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's the last comic, and I guess that's the show. We talked for a good long time this week.
Yeah, we certainly did.
A lot of discussion, a lot of stuff to cover. As always, I hope people enjoyed the episode. If you're a patron, you get to listen to this one first, and you get to watch it first, because Matt's actually uploading the video part too. Yep,
you get audio and video around the same time.
Yep, you get to carry the audio around with you. If you do want to download the show, we have a SoundCloud page. You can check that one out as well. That's linked down in the description. I always try and get to that one the next day so people can carry that around. If you want to show your comic multiverse love, we have all sorts of shirts now over at our TeePublic store. Again, down in the description. You can check that one out. Yeah, they're pretty cool. They are. Whoever designed them did a really good job. They did do a really good. I don't know who this mystery man could be, but he does fine work. Also, hey, if you're looking to pick up any of the books we said today in trade, Matt and I both have Book Depository links down in the description. Be much appreciated if you picked our link when you went to go buy something. Not only do you save a bundle on shipping and handling, it's completely free, but you'll be supporting us in the show while we're at it. And in fact, everyone should do that more often, because we got to pass $100 threshold before we actually get any money. So please do that. Just do it for everything you buy. Just use our link if you like it. Christmas is coming. Buy all your Christmas gifts on Book Depository. There you go. There you go. Yeah, that can be your gift to us. Use us for all your Christmas shopping. So yeah, with that, everyone, I guess we can start winding down the show. Thank you for watching and listening, and Matt and I will be back again next week, and I'm sure we'll have more to talk about, because it'll be post-New York Comic Con. Oh, we're going to have a lot to talk about. I'm sure we will. I hope we do. I hope it's not bullshit. I hope it's like, yeah, they didn't announce anything. Like one thing. But if they do that, we'll do a commentary next week. We'll do like fucking Spider-Man or Wonder Woman or some shit. Yeah, we got to get on them. Actually, a fan said we should do Star Wars for Christmas, and maybe we should, because I think like Star Wars has become like the new Christmas Batman. Yeah, it's the new Christmas thing, and it's also become the new Batman v Superman thing that we've like promised and promised but never did.
Oh, really? I can't really remember what we've been promising.
No, I know. We promised so much. That's why we're a good show. We'd be a great show if we kept all the promises. Did we do Force Awakens with Comic Book House? I think we did.
I honestly can't remember.
I want to say we did. I think that was like one of the last things we did. I might have to check the numbers on. Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah,
I want to say.
I can't remember.
I don't know. We might have someone go back in the archives and look at those for us, because we'll do Rogue One if not.
Yeah.
It's all Star Wars. So with that, everyone, we are officially 100% done for this episode. Bye bye.
See ya.